Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have another shop talk video, and today's topic is going to be jumper packs and how much technology has evolved throughout the years. And before we go ahead and get into this topic, guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and definitely smash that like button because it helps the channel out. With that said, let's go ahead and get started on today's video. So to jump right into this, for years I've always had a jumper pack. Whether I was working at a dealership or working independently, there was always a jumper pack in my tool arsenal. Now for many years I've always had something like this unit right here, this really big DSR unit. Now these things are great. They pack a lot of power. They actually do have some extra features and stuff like a cigarette lighter port or 12 volt port, whatever you want to call it. And these have been always very trustworthy to me. I've used them for years, but these are heavy. They suck to lug around the parking lot if you're working anywhere and you gotta, travel or walk pretty far to get to the car. These are absolutely incredibly heavy and a pain to deal with. But I've dealt with them for years, and right now in my own shop here, I have two of these things because you never know if one is undercharged or not working. I always have a spare, and I've used them for years and they're amazing at what they do. Mine is the fact that, like I said, they're heavy, they're bulky, and they're just a pain to move with. And recently, in the past couple years, we've had little units like this Noco right here that have come out onto market. And I will be honest with you, these have been out probably like 6 or 7 years, maybe more now. And I've always been skeptical. I've seen people use them online and on videos and reviewing them and everything. And I've always, it didn't matter whether it was a Noco or anything. This thing is not a sponsored video by any means, guys. But it didn't matter what jumper pack you had. I thought these small little guys were just gimmicks, that they just didn't work. Or maybe they were good for one jump start and that was it. And I'm like, what's the point? I need something more utilitarian. I mean, I run a shop. Sometimes I could be jumping 3-4 cars a day. It all really depends on what's going on around me. And I never really thought into buying one much, but I was shopping at a store and these were going for about $60 now. This particular Noco that I have here is I guess you can say entry level, if not the cheapest of the cheap ones that you could buy. And I just picked it up because I've always wondered for years. I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted one. I've always wanted to test them and see how it would work. And I was very skeptical, but the price was low enough to the point where even if I wound up destroying it or it didn't work and I couldn't return it, I figured, you know what? I can absorb it. I can, deal with it. So I wound up picking it up. And I followed the directions to a T. I charged it for, as long as it needed to, so it was fully charged. Read the little directions on it on how to use it. And I started using it. Now, I have about maybe 7 or 8 cars in my parking lot that have been here for a while that I'm pretty sure I've run down batteries. And I told myself, I'm gonna do a test. I'm gonna take this little cheapy, like base model starter of the Noco brand. This thing doesn't even have a part number. Normally now they have like GB40s or whatever, because I actually wound up buying a second one after this one, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But this one doesn't even have a number. This is like the original one ever came out, so the technology on it is pretty far behind. But I kid you not, guys, I was impressed. I took it out to my parking lot, and anything that had a dead battery, whether it was just a little bit undercharged and wasn't able to start the car or completely flat, I hooked it up, and guess what? I got about 5 jump starts out of it before it had fully drained. And out of those 5 jump starts, only one of them had some voltage in the battery. The other ones were completely dead, like 0 volts on the batteries. And this started all of them, and with ease, I might add. And after that, I was really impressed. So I started, going online, and I found a middle tier model that worked for me. I believe I bought a GB70 is the other one, that I settled on, or GB80. I don't really remember. I have it in my toolbox over here. But I basically have 2 of these little guys now, and these things work amazing. Now, look at this. This is maybe a pound or 2 versus this. I can't even lift it. Like this, you can tell just by thudding. Look how heavy that thing is. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is ever going to replace this, because this probably can do a lot more jump starts than this little unit can. But for what I needed to do at my shop, which is basically start a car in the parking lot and bring it in with a dead battery or bad alternator, or just to get something moving or jump started, this is absolutely wonderful. And I was very skeptical for a very long time, guys. I mean, I absolutely thought these things were a gimmick. But I just want to say, if you have a shop or you're just a consumer now, I've heard a lot of stories where if you buy these and you just let them sit around, you're not using them, the batteries eventually go bad. So if you're only planning on using this every once in a while, it's a nice thing to have, but I want to say that it may not work out for you because these have to repeatedly, get charged and used and discharged to keep that battery healthy from what I've read and from all my research. So for most shops, if you have one of these units that's big and bulky and heavy and takes forever to charge up, you may want to consider getting one of these. Because like I said, I was absolutely blown away. It does what it's intended to. Now, I didn't expect the world of it, and it wound up, giving me a lot more than I ever thought it would be able to do. So much to the point where I went from being skeptical to buying a second one in a higher model. So, just wanted to kind of throw that information out there. Now, I'm not going to get into any technical specs. Like I said, this is not a sponsored video. This is just something that I thought was very gimmicky, and I wanted to make a video because, like I said, my expectations were blown out of the water. So if you are an individual or a shop and you work on cars and you need a good way to jumpstart them and you're not doing a lot of jump starts every day, use one of these. And it's great. And the whole point why I even decided to go and buy one of these is that I have a local truck driver here that tows cars for me. He has a tow truck, and he told me that he got rid of this unit 5 or 6 years ago when these first started coming out, and he typically uses it, I want to say 2 to 3 times a day. It's always on charge in his truck and a cigarette lighter, and he says that he has been able to make so much money off this little guy from all the jump starts and things that he has done with it throughout the years, and he's only had to replace it just a few times, meaning in a 6-year span he buys one like every 2 years, I think he said, which for me, I could live with that for the cost of these being, like this unit especially for $50. If I could get 2 years of use out of this, 3 years, I say that's a pretty good amount for the money that I paid. Even if this unit cost around $100 to $150, even 200, if I can get 2 to 3 years, I think it'll be worth it, because these big ones, after 4 or 5 years, if you don't replace the battery, they eventually will go out because they are massive. So with that said, guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. I just wanted to say, if you're skeptical of these little things, don't be. I've wasted many years and probably hurt my arm so many times, pulling this thing through the parking lot, jump starting cars and things of that nature, when I could have had one of these all along. So just want to share my 2 cents on this, and I want to hear what you guys have to think. If you've tried these out, let me know any good or bad experiences with them. I'd love to hear it. So with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe because it definitely helps the channel grow. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.